Hi everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Welcome back to another fashion edition. Today we're going to take a look at some of the looks from the Golden Globes. I'll probably break this into two parts, so be sure you subscribe so you do not miss the second part. The Golden Globes were certainly a lot better fashion-wise than the Critics' Choice Awards were. The Critics' Choice Awards, I felt like nobody was best dressed. The looks were just meh. All of them were just, oh, okay. The ones that were good were still not that great. So I'm really excited to review these today. I also, just as a side note, appreciate that the Golden Globes this year made their backdrop and everything look really, really nice. I like this sort of champagne vibe, and the branding and the look and the overall aesthetic of the red carpet area is really, really nice, because remember at Critics' Choice and several other red carpets in the last year or two have had a lot of black backdrops, which makes it a lot harder to see the fashion. And it's a little bit less appealing. I feel like these photos are looking a lot nicer already. So let's begin with Emma Stone here. She is in a butter yellow Louis Vuitton two-piece dress with this embroidered skirt that's got like a beaded fringe and, a simple silk top. I don't love this. I do, however, really like her hair and makeup here. She looks beautiful. I think that they did a great job with her hair and makeup, and her styling overall makes sense for this outfit, but I just don't like this two-piece here. She is a rectangular body type, so she can pull a look like this off that has a silhouette like this. However, that's a little bit more like sleek and straight. However, this top just looks kind of bulky and stiff and like it's pulling away from her, like it doesn't fit her very well. So this top just kind of looks silly, almost like you just tacked a napkin across her chest is what it looks like. It doesn't look very nice. If it had more shape or definition to it, I feel like this would be a lot better than it was. And the skirt has potential with a different type of top, or if this top was improved, but this altogether, no. Miley Cyrus is wearing a sequined dress by Saint Laurent with a rather sculptural sort of fan-shaped paneling across the top and the shoulders. I don't love that element of it. If these sort of ruffled bits were not stuck on to this dress, I think I would really, really like it. It defines her figure nicely. It fits her really, really well. This simple black sequined dress could have been extraordinarily classy and sort of a dramatic look for her. She looks beautiful overall. It's just these ruffles across the top. For Miley, who has a relatively balanced figure, but she is a little bit broader in the shoulder than she is in the hip. Straight on, this is going to make her look very top heavy rather than give her any degree of balance. So she would have had to have been quite careful with her posing in this dress to make sure she was creating a little bit of an S, which I'm sure she did. She's quite experienced with modeling clothes like this and red carpets and whatnot, but it's not my favorite. I feel like it kind of took away from the dress rather than added to it to have all these heavy bits up here. Also in Louis Vuitton, we have Ana de Armas in another sequined embroidered tulle lace dress. I like this. I like that she did like a classic old Hollywood hair and makeup. I think that's really beautiful. I really, really like those sorts of timeless looks. And the dress overall, it fits her really nicely. It accentuates her figure. She's ever so slightly pear-shaped, so having it be more sleek and fitted across the hip without too much volume was the right choice because it is a spaghetti strap. If it had had sleeves, she could have gotten away with volume. I really, really like this for her specifically. It's a good match and it's a beautiful dress overall. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is the mesh paneling that you can see here and there that's sort of holding the dress together, but it is required for this style of dress with this type of lace and sequin embroidery and tulle. These fabrics require a little bit more flexibility when it comes to the construction. I think this was a win. This should be close up to best dressed, in my opinion. Michael B. Jordan is wearing a custom Prada tuxedo with a pale yellow poplin shirt, a black silk tie, and leather Chelsea boots. This is perfect. I absolutely love this. This is way, way better of a fit than what he wore to Critics' Choice, which was kind of bulky and baggy around the lower abdomen and hip area and upper thigh. Like it was creating a pear shape on his body. I hated the fit of that suit. This has a perfect fit, interesting colors still, so it's not like boring having the brown and pale yellow. I think this was really, really nice. I love it. Zoe Kravitz is wearing a Saint Laurent slip dress. I'm not a fan of this one. You see here at the waistband how the ties are yellow, and then the straps up here are gray and really stiff and just don't look like they match the dress at all. Neither of these things look like they match this peach and lace, and either way, it looks very much like an undergarment. Sometimes that can be pulled off really, really nicely, and she does have the dainty figure to pull something like that off, but here, the straps and the yellow tie around the waist are just distracting from the look, and they look incongruous. This does not work for me at all. I like the hair and makeup though, okay. Jennifer Lawrence got in on the naked dress trend. I'm not sure that she's really worn one of these before that's super sheer. This is something that, like Kim Kardashian and J-Lo wear all the time, these types of sheer dresses, Beyonce as well. I'm not sure that I've seen Jennifer Lawrence pull one of these off before. It's an embroidered tulle gown by Givenchy, and I actually really like this. I love the floral embroidery involved. I think this is perfect color tones for her. Everything matches here, which I really, really appreciate, and the hair, makeup, and styling is perfection. As for it being like a sheer dress like this in general, you guys know I'm not a huge fan of them. I feel like if it had just a little bit more embroidery, a little bit further down the thigh, it would have been a lot more beautiful in general. I think that she wore this really, really well, and it's a beautiful piece. It's just my personal preference would be a little bit more coverage down the thighs, just because I feel like these are dated, and this is a slightly more modern take, but it's still feels a little much these days, a little bit like, I don't know, something about it, I'm just kind of over these, I guess. So if it had just a little bit more coverage, I feel like it would have pushed it even more fresh and made it feel even more updated, rather than the current balance of sheerness to embroidery and coverage feels a little dated, like the, try hard, I'm going to show as much skin as possible, like the J-Lo and Kim Kardashian sort of trend that they had dominated there for a few years. I don't like Jacob Elordi's custom double-breasted Bottega Veneta suit as much as what he wore to Critics' Choice. This has so much volume in the thigh throughout the pant that I don't care for this as much. It also looks to have just a tiny bit extra room than what he needs across the chest and shoulder. I feel like it's not as good of a fit, and I don't like this quite as much. The volume in the trousers especially is not my fave. Hudson Williams is wearing an Armani suit. It's okay. Again, the volume in the trouser isn't my favorite here. It's almost like barrel leg is what they're doing for some of these men's suits for this trend. I like the silk shirt underneath. His styling looks nice, but yeah, this shape of trouser isn't my favorite. It's not my favorite on most women either. Unfortunately, Pamela Anderson's Ferragamo outfit is not working for her. The rise of the skirt paired up with the bulk of this shirt is making it look like she has quite the belly. It's adding a lot of weight to her abdomen here. It's just not very flattering. And the shirt itself is way too big. It's swallowing her up. It's overwhelming. If this had had a slightly higher rise to the skirt where it sat on the actual thinnest part of her waist up here and had a more fitted shirt, or is just a better shirt, this would have been okay. But here, as is, I absolutely hate it. I think her hair and makeup and whatnot look beautiful. But yeah, this shirt being oversized and wrinkly and shoved in here, putting all this extra weight on the abdomen, is not flattering in any way, shape, or form. Chase Infinity is in another Louis Vuitton dress here. This is a metallic hand-embroidered bustier and velvet skirt, and I like it. I really do, except the proportion here from this sculpted bodice to the velvet skirt is a little extreme. It's a little bit abrupt, you know what I mean? It kind of feels like it would have been more successful with slightly less volume, so that the transition from the volume of the sculpted top, which is very stiff, to the beautifully done velvet mermaid style skirt would be less jarring, because this is quite a jarring change. I think the concept is great though. Just ever so slightly too much volume here. And it does look really stiff on top of it, so a little bit less volume probably would have helped that. Julia Roberts is wearing custom Armani Privé. This is beautiful. I think this is really, really nice. I like the styling choice here of the pendant necklace right between the cleavage for this very deep V-neck. It creates a focal point. Dakota Fanning is wearing a gorgeous champagne-colored Vivienne Westwood dress. I absolutely love this. This is so, so beautiful. Look at how the draping just accentuates her figure. It accentuates the bust line, the hips. It creates more of a defined waist for her. The styling is perfect. It's ethereal. It's beautiful. It's balanced. I love everything about this. It's also really nicely fitted, as you can see across the neckline and the sleeve over the shoulder. It all looks very on purpose, very intentional. This is perfectly polished, perfectly beautiful. The movement of this dress is gorgeous. This is definitely close to best dressed here. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Oscar Isaac looks fabulous. I really quite like the brooches that men are getting into wearing. His looks really nice. It adds a nice focal point. It dresses it up a little bit without having to go crazy with the suit itself. I think it's a really nice approach. And I'm glad men are leaning into brooches more often. Odessa Azion opted for an archival look in vintage Dolce & Gabbana, and I don't care for this one. No. The trousers have way too much volume. And then this, feathered sort of top, it feels more costumey. I do like the gloves, the jewelry, the hair and makeup look really nice, but overall, I don't care for this outfit really at all. Natasha Lyonne is wearing a pale blue Valentino gown. It's nice. I'm not sure about the hairstyle and this dress because the halter top gets so thin up here at the front and is rather slim fit throughout the rest, is actually widening her shoulder line just a tad. It's looking a little bit off balance, and this bow here across the front detail feels a little messy, quite frankly, paired up with the texture involved here. So I'm not loving this one, but Ariana Grande's dress is quite beautiful. This is a Vivienne Westwood gown with a wonderful silhouette. The sculptural skirt just further accentuates her figure, her waistline here. It's well balanced with this asymmetrical top. And the ribbon hanging down off the sleeve actually enhances the vertical line, which she needs because she's really short, but also because of this volume that actually really helps make it look more visually balanced, encouraging the eye to have more vertical line impact rather than just the horizontal volume of the skirt is really, really smart. And overall, the draping of this skirt, the texture and whatnot make it really, really interesting and prevent it from feeling too stiff. So I liked this one. Owen Cooper is wearing Bottega Veneta. It's a leather jacket and matching wool trousers. I think it's just okay. I'm not loving the belt on top, and the volume around the waist here are making the silhouette look a little frumpy, which normally is hard to do for a man's figure because they're usually an inverted triangle, so it takes effort to add that volume to the hip and thigh to make something look frumpy. But it's also because the sleeve shape is so curved, and I know this is sort of a trend right now to do the more sort of rounded silhouettes, but I feel like it just kind of looks a little frumpy, a little bit, sometimes it can look a little droopy. It definitely here with the belt on the outside is adding weight to his hip line. And I just don't feel like that's a super attractive silhouette for a guy, in my opinion. So I don't particularly like the silhouette or shape of this, but I think the color is interesting. Jenna Ortega is sticking with the Gothic themes in this piece here, but I don't care for it. The shape of this is just pretty awkward in my opinion. The way this panel comes down right to the crotch area, it makes that the focal point. I just don't find this to be a flattering silhouette or outfit overall. And the juxtaposition of the turtleneck and the heaviness of the sleeves with the completely bare sides is just not something that I find very appealing. I think this looks pretty awkward. I don't like it. Jean Smart's flowy white gown is really, really beautiful, and the embroidered details at the waist are actually a really nice focal point here, though I wish it came right up to underneath the bust and kind of just stayed right at the waist, because even though it is texture and color on this white dress, because it's darker than the white, it's actually, you could use it to sort of create the illusion of a more well-defined waist, especially with the way it drapes in from the bust line here. And these flowy sheer sleeves keep it feeling light. I really, really like this. It's just, if it were up just a tiny bit higher, it would have actually made her waistline look even more defined. Here, it's just sitting a tiny bit low, so it's almost like it's dragging down and adding a tiny bit of weight to that very lower portion of the belly. Not in a hugely dramatic way or anything. It's not ruining the look. It just would have made it look all the more better. I do wish she would have worn a necklace here, because as you can see, her earrings looks like studs, so they're not dangly, and her hair is up, and this neckline has a pretty significant V-neck, so there's a lot of open chest or décolleté. So a necklace would have been really, really nice to just add more polish to this outfit and give us a little bit of a breaking up of the chest here. Would have created even more balance, give us a little bit of a focal point there. It would have been really, really nice. Like, elevated this outfit so much further. Paul Mescal is wearing a Gucci tuxedo. He is an ambassador for them, so he's pretty much always wearing Gucci. But I really like this. It's very classic. It's very simple, sleek, clean lines. I like the fit of the trousers here. It looks perfectly tailored to him. I think it's a great success. And Tiana Taylor's Schiaparelli couture gown is amazing. I absolutely love this. I love the bow detail on the back. I love the shape of this. As you can see, these dramatic diagonal lines from the draping of the dress just further enhance her figure. And they are done so at an angle that also enhances her vertical line a little bit. It elongates her torso just a tad, which is important because she is more hourglass. If the waistline can be elongated, it just adds a little bit more balance to those curves, and it looks beautiful. Everything about this dress is amazing. The asymmetry is also a little bit slimming for the bust line, which is nice. And the train also enhances the vertical line. Overall, I think this is like one of my favorites of the night. Should be up there close to best dressed. So of this bunch, I would say Jenna Ortega and Owen Cooper are probably some of the worst dressed. Natasha Lyonne as well should be down there by worst dressed. Oh, and Odessa. I really didn't like those. Really not at all. Not even a little bit. Oh, and Pamela Anderson. That is a disaster. Okay, so there's quite a few that should be down there by worst dressed, for sure. And maybe Zoe Kravitz. Of those, I would say Pamela Anderson's was certainly the worst. It was the least flattering of the bunch for sure. That one was like by far the worst because it didn't even look like that fancy. But Ana de Armas and Dakota Fanning, I think, were definitely some of the absolute best. And Tiana Taylor. It would be such a difficult decision between Tiana Taylor and Dakota Fanning, in my opinion, for the two best dressed of the night, with Ana de Armas in a close third place for best out of this bunch. But we will be back with more from the Golden Globes red carpet in our part 2. So be sure you're subscribed. And if you did enjoy today's video, please do click the like button and the hype button, only if you want to, and share this video if you would like to. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time. Have a happy day, everybody. Bye.